Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Hope you're having a wonderful day and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. In today's video, we are going to have a bit of fun and we are going to start, no doubt, one hell of a debate off, and we're going to call this one Who's Better. We will be comparing Awoniyi and Surridge, as a lot of you guys are split on who you think should be starting. We're going to go through the team and compare some other key positions, Lodi and Toffolo, MGW, Lingard and Dennis, and so on and so forth. And I want your opinions down below on who you think the better player is. Guys, before we get into this, don't forget to give the video a quick like, subscribe to the channel, and make sure if you would like to support us, become a member for 99p. Really does help in everything we do for the channel. Finally, just to let you know as well that when Forest go to Brighton, it will be on Amazon. If you want to watch this game for free, if you click on our link below, you can sign up for Amazon Prime or Amazon Video, either of which will give you a 3-month trial, so you will be able to watch the game. And of course, we will have that watch along as well as the Villa watch along tomorrow. So plenty coming up. So please do go check out the link. It's pinned to the comments down below. Let's get into this and let's have this as a bit of a fun debate before the pressure cooker of tomorrow builds up. Alright guys, so let's get into this, and like I said, this is just for a bit of fun, just to get the conversation going between us all and build us up into the Villa match, maybe a little calmer than we should be. But let's start with having a look at Sam, Surridge and Awoniyi, because I read all the comments you guys put. Apologies if I haven't responded to anyone. I've been extremely busy and still trying to recover from COVID, but I'm doing it where I can. And this one seems to be, alongside with the Toffolo Lodi debate, this one seems to be the one that's splitting the fan base the most. So I thought it'd be good fun if we have a look at their stats. Now, I will say off the bat, it is hard to compare because obviously Awoniyi has had a lot more stats and appearances than Sam Surridge. So we'll talk about their stats, but stats will only show us so much. And then we'll move in to talk about their general gameplay, etc. and my thoughts. And then more importantly, I want your guys' thoughts. So make sure you get them down below. So if we have a look at it, just a like for like I said, in the Premier League so far, Awoniyi's had 8 appearances to Surridge's 4. Now that means substitutions, not necessarily starts. 2 goals to Awoniyi, nothing to Surridge, no assists to either. Clean sheets, yellow cards, etc. don't mean too much. But let's have a look at the attacking stats. So goals, we said 2. So Awoniyi averages a goal every 4 games. Surridge, no goals, no assists, no nothing. It takes Awoniyi on average 181 minutes, so you could argue nearly just over a goal every 2 games. But look at the shot differences. Awoniyi's had 11 compared to Surridge's 2. And on target, Awoniyi has hit the target more times than Surridge has. Again, take into it the caveat that he's played a lot less. But for those of you who are saying that Surridge is the more clinical finisher and the better finisher, these stats would actually say otherwise. Again, caveats, I know. Off target, Awoniyi, well, that probably backs Sam Surridge's stats there. And his shooting accuracy is 36%. Sam Surridge hasn't actually had a shot on goal or on target this whole Premier League. And then if we carry on, I mean, the stats are quite woeful. Let's be honest about it, guys. We're not exactly setting the world on fire up front. But goals from inside the box, 2 for Awoniyi, none for Surridge, and headers, 1 for Awoniyi, none for Surridge. Hitting the woodwork, we don't even want to talk about that. Big chances scored, he's had 2, Surridge has had none. If we look though into the team play, which I think is a bit more balanced in terms of what we see, Awoniyi somehow has had quite a good number of passes, 72 passes compared to Surridge's 24. But the percentage, which will give you a better idea because it's not taken into account game time, is just looking at the actual stats. Awoniyi is a lot better with nearly an 80% passes complete. That stat actually shocked me when I saw it. And passes forward, they're exactly the same. I would give that to Surridge, obviously because he's had less time on the pitch. Passes backwards, 28 from Awoniyi and 4 from Surridge. Now this actually is an interesting point because this isn't Awoniyi's strength. Awoniyi's strength is not playing with his back to goal. He's better off when the ball's played into the space and he can run onto it, as we saw with those 2 opportunities against Leicester City the other night. Sam doesn't play the ball back much. He's more of a progressive one. But in terms of touches, Awoniyi is having a decent amount of touches when he is on the pitch. Crosses and through balls are 1 for Awoniyi and 1 apiece on crosses. And then dispossessed, Awoniyi loses the ball a hell of a lot. I think we can all agree on that one. When it comes to tracking back and defending, obviously the goals isn't really what we're interested in here. But tackle-wise, Awoniyi does put his foot in a bit. 4 tackles to Surridge's 3. 3 successful tackles to Surridge's 0. 7 clearances to Surridge's 5. Again, I'd give that to Surridge. And Surridge is better at clearing with his head than Awoniyi is as well. So those are the stats. And like I said, it's not a definitive thing, nor would I base any opinions on those stats, because it's clear to see it's imbalanced in terms of the time Awoniyi has had compared to that of Sam Surridge. But overall, let me give you guys my thoughts on this heads up here. For me, Awoniyi's the better player. As much as I think his second touch, is atrocious, in terms of what he can produce on the pitch, he will score goals. Yes, he may take a couple more chances than Surridge, but he will be in the right position. He has the better physique for the Premier League as well. And we can't forget what he did for Union Berlin last season, where I think he scored like 15 goals there. So, Sam Surridge, the fans of Sam Surridge, I get it. He is a good, clean finisher. I always go back to the Swansea match last season when he just played them off the park with that hat-trick he scored and a beautiful finesse goal from the edge of the box. But is he Premier League quality would be my question to you. And that I don't think anyone can actually give us the answer to, because he hasn't been given a run in the Premier League. But my argument as to why I would pick Awoniyi over Surridge is quite simple. Even last season, when we were in the Championship, Surridge was not our #1 choice. It was always Brennan Johnson, partnered usually with Keinan Davis or Graben, depending on what time of the season it was, with Sam Surridge. Well, when Sam Surridge was in the team, it was always Keinan Davis ahead of him, subject to injury, and Sam would be that impact sub. Even in the playoffs, when Keinan Davis wasn't fully fit for the final, for example, Cooper decided to go with a 90% fit Keinan Davis over a Sam Surridge. So it does tell you that even though in the Championship he was a good clinical finisher, he still wasn't our #1 choice. And I think a lot of Forest fans do forget that. Whereas Awoniyi has always been a #1 choice at Union Berlin. Last season when he was with them, as I mentioned earlier, he scored 15 goals. He was that presence for them up front. He's a confidence player though. He needs confidence, he needs goals, he needs chances. We've got to accept he's going to miss a good amount, but he will score some as well. But I think positionally, he will always be in a better position to score than Surridge. If Surridge gets a chance in front of goal, I'd put more money on him to score it than for Awoniyi. But those are my thoughts on this one. Hard to compare. Obviously, the stats aren't great on it. But let me know down below, which of these two would you go with? All right, so let's move on to the big one, if you like, the one that most people are debating about, and the one that probably the stats are close enough that you can actually have a decent conversation about these two. And of course, is Renan Lodi and Harry Toffolo. So Lodi's played 4 games now, with Toffolo having played 5. One of the games is obviously a half each, I think, at Man City, if I remember rightly. But let's get into it. So games are about the same. Clearance, goals, assists, nothing. Clean sheets, 1 means nothing. And let's just bring this down to, let's have a look at the attacking side of things, which I think will be quite interesting. So Lodi's had more shots, even with less game time played. 1 off target, whereas Toffolo's had 2, with both of them being on target. Outside of that, not too much has happened, apart from big chances missed, which comes to Lodi. I think they may be classing that Man City header at the back post as a miss for him, unless there's something else that I can't quite remember. But the team play one is the one where you want to see the most effectiveness from an LWB in the formation that Cooper's got them going in. So overall, Lodi's made more passes and has a way higher percentage completion rate on his passes than Toffolo does. And obviously I expect this. Now remember, I am slightly biased towards Lodi with everything I'm saying here because I think he's better. But passes are nearly at 80%, whereas Toffolo's pass completion is actually quite poor at 66%. But Toffolo tends to pass the ball forward more than Lodi does. Lodi looks to lay it off and then run into the space, whereas Toffolo is looking for progressive passes. And he's nearly, well, just, 30% 33% higher up than Lodi on that was 61 compared to 38. In terms of touches, they've had, you'd probably give it to Lodi having had a game less, but they're quite even if you want to split hairs about it. And when it comes to crosses, obviously Lodi's known for his crosses, and you would expect him to have more crosses done there. And dispossessed, they've both lost the ball 3 times in key positions. In terms of defending, I guess at the end of the day, if you're a defender, you need to be able to defend. We've had 1 clean sheet when Toffolo was in the team to none with Lodi. 15 goals conceded as a team versus 6. Toffolo's had 1 block to Lodi's 0. But Lodi does a lot more interceptions with 9 against 5. And tackles, they're dead even. Successful tackles from the tackle attempts, Toffolo is better. And then if you look at clearances, Toffolo is better at getting rid of the ball. Now, is that necessarily good? I don't know, because if the ball is just pumped upfield, is it then coming straight back? Who knows? It depends what the situation of these stats are. And then it's clear to see in the aerial stats, because Toffolo is slightly taller, he's a lot better than Lodi in the aerial duels, which of course you would expect. So overall, it's very, very tight. And if we look at the minutes and the games played here, the minutes are roughly the same. You could argue Toffolo's had a half more than Lodi. But overall, I would say at the moment it's tight between the two of them. And I could see an argument for either one. So this one is just down to preference. For me, biasness completely is going to answer this question. And I'm going to go with Lodi, mainly because he is a better passer of the ball. And I think once he's settled in properly, he's going to come and play his natural, beautiful game. And we're going to see the best out of him, especially if we go to a 4 in the back with the correct players around him. This one's going to split you guys. I know from now it is. So let me know down in the comments below. Lodi or Toffolo? I'm interested to see which way you swing on this. And also, which one for which formation? In the back 5, who would you go for? In a back 4, who would you go for? Let me know down below. Okay, let's look at the final one for this series. And if you guys like this, we can do it regularly, maybe every week, every other week, or something like that. Gibbs White versus Jesse Lingard. Now, if you thought I was biased towards Lodi, then I will tell you from the off now, this isn't just bias. This is bias versus don't want to see near a pitch. So, but I will try and remain neutral on it as we go through the stats. So they've both played roughly the same games. Remember, Morgan Gibbs White did have a couple of outings for Wolves before joining Nottingham Forest. But overall, they've played 8 versus 7 in favour of MGW. Assist-wise, there's only been 1. And that's come from Morgan Gibbs White. Clean sheets doesn't matter. Yellow cards, they've had 1 each. But let's go into the attack. Now, off the bat, you would say it's very poor from both players. 0 goals, 1 assist between the two of them. It's not great. It's not great. 9 shots, though, to Morgan Gibbs White versus Lingard's 6 shots. All of his shots, I think, have been off target as well for Jesse Lingard. Whereas, 1 has been on target and 3 for Morgan Gibbs White. Now, if you look at the shot accuracy, it's 42% to MGW versus 0% for Jesse Lingard. Look, I would say 42% is not great, but 0% is definitely worse. Let me know what you think before. Scroll down a bit further. There's not too much of interest here, but when you look at big chances missed, MGW has missed more than Jesse Lingard in 2-0. But Jesse Lingard hasn't had any to miss. I think that's the stat you should take away from there. But how do they fare in the midfield in terms of what they're contributing to the team? Now, this is quite interesting. As we've already discussed, MGW has 1 assist to Lingard's 0 and has a big chance created. But passing-wise, MGW is flying way, way ahead of Lingard with 259 versus 163. But the completion accuracy, shockingly, comes from Jesse Lingard at a very decent percentage. In fact, it's at 86.5%. Versus Gibbs White, whose isn't great at 75%. Passes forward, you can see, though, the difference in these passes is that Morgan Gibbs White is taking more of a risk and progressing the ball forward, way over double the amount that Jesse Lingard has done. And in terms of his backward passes, even those are higher than Jesse Lingard's. But overall, Morgan Gibbs-White is a more progressive passer of the ball than Jesse Lingard. And this rings true in matches. When you do watch it, Jesse Lingard is very sideways, very conservative with his balls, apart from the assist that he got in the second Fulham goal, for Forest. In terms of touches, Morgan Gibbs-White is flying away. He's more involved in the game than Jesse Lingard. And through balls, those clinical ones that you like to see, like the one he played through to Awoniyi against Leicester, as an example, he's way ahead of Lingard as well with 5-1. And you can see he's crossing the ball a hell of a lot more than Lingard. So I think it's very interesting stats. I think the only one that favours Lingard is his accuracy. But as the balls are more going backwards than forwards, for me, that's not really what I want to see from a creative midfielder, as apparently he's meant to be. But let me know, out of these two, who would you rather see in the number 10? The other thing to add as well is there has been a couple of games where Lingard has played out on the left, which I actually think is his better position, even though I don't think he's our best player there. I would put Dennis. But you have to take every bit of these stats with a pinch of salt. But I know there's been a debate about these 6 players, and I thought it'd be fun just to have a look at some basic stats. Look, we could go into more in-depth stats. I've got pages and pages of it, but I just want to keep it simple and layman-y enough for everyone just to understand the key facts, but then opinions will always override it. So for me, guys, out of these 3 players, I would have to go with Awoniyi over Surridge, I would go with Lodi over Toffolo, and I would go with Morgan Gibbs-White over Lingard. Those are my 3 choices. Where do you guys sit on those 3? And who else do you want to see us compare and discuss? Maybe we can have a look at some of the centre-backs, Cook versus McKenna. Maybe we can have a look at the right-backs, Aurier versus Williams. And maybe we can have a look at the right-wingers, Johnson versus maybe a Dennis or something. Let me know down below, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, as I mentioned at the start of the video, the Brighton match will be on Amazon. And if you want to watch that for free, please go ahead and sign up for your Amazon Prime down below, or Amazon Video, completely free for a month, so you can get to watch that match. Tomorrow, we will have the watch along as well as the daily Forest news. We will be starting that from 7:30 p.m. We will scrutinize the team sheet when it comes out. And of course, we will cheer on and back the boys to hopefully a win against Aston Villa. So, thank you guys for watching. Before you leave, if you would be kind enough to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and if you would like to support us as a member, please feel free to do so. It really does help keep us going. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, and come on, you Reds.